There's a car sitting outside a bank in rural England. Engine running, lights off. The driver has both hands on the wheel and he hasn't moved in 4 minutes. He is not nervous. He has done this before, many times. He is simply waiting for the signal. The moment two men walk out of that building carrying bags that don't belong to them. The signal comes, the doors open, the bags go in. The car pulls away. Not fast, not dramatically, just smoothly and deliberately. The way a man drives when he knows that drawing attention is the one thing he cannot afford. And then, 2 streets later, when the first police siren begins to wail in the distance, he drives fast. Genuinely, terrifyingly fast. Not because he is panicking, because he can. Because the car underneath him was built to do exactly this, even though the people who built it never intended it for anything of the sort. The police chase lasts 11 minutes, then it ends. Not because anyone was caught, because the Jaguar simply drove away. This happened dozens of times across Britain in the 1960s. The same car, the same result, and eventually the same humiliating conclusion from police forces across the country. If you cannot catch it, you buy it. This is the story of the Jaguar Mark II, the most elegant getaway car ever made. The car that broke British law enforcement, and the car that ended up on both sides of the law at exactly the same time. Jaguar's founder, Sir William Lyons, had a philosophy he repeated so often it became almost a motto. Every car he built had to offer 3 things: grace, space, pace. It had to look beautiful, it had to carry 4 people in genuine comfort, and it had to be fast. Not sports car fast in a way that made it impractical, but fast in a way that made you feel, behind the wheel of a sensible family saloon, like you had something over everyone else on the road. The Mark II, launched in 1959, was the fullest realization of that idea he had ever produced. From the outside, it was exactly what it appeared to be: a conservative, beautifully proportioned British saloon. Chrome grille, curved glass, the kind of car a senior solicitor might drive, or a bank manager, or any respectable professional who wanted something that said something good about him without saying it too loudly. Inside, leather seats, a walnut dashboard, a smell that belonged more to a gentleman's club than a motor car. 4 adults could sit in real comfort. The boot was generous, the ride was civilized, and underneath all of that respectability, in the version that mattered, was a 3.8-liter straight-six engine, the same fundamental architecture as the engine in the Jaguar E-Type sports car. 220 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds, a top speed of 125 miles per hour. In 1959, in a 4-door family saloon that looked like it belonged parked outside a church on a Sunday morning. The police cars of the era were Wolseley 680, upright, dignified, thoroughly British vehicles that the public associated with authority and order. Their top speed was 85 miles per hour. Getting to 60 took them over 21 seconds. You don't need to be a criminal mastermind to see the opportunity in that gap. You just need to notice it, and the criminals of 1960s Britain noticed it very quickly. Roy James was not supposed to be a criminal. Born in Fulham in 1935, he grew up with an instinctive gift for machinery and an almost reckless ease behind the wheel of anything with an engine. By the early 1960s, he was competing in Formula Junior, the feeder series directly below Formula One, driving a Brabham against men who would go on to define the sport. In the 1963 season, he won 16 races, posted 11 fastest laps, and beat Jackie Stewart on track more than once. The talent was real and it was undeniable. The problem was money. Sponsorship was everything in that era, and it never came. The bills arrived, the racing career stalled, and Roy James found another way to fund the thing he loved. He started stealing cars. First for the thrill, then professionally. His reputation in London's criminal underworld built quickly. Here was a man who could drive anything, anywhere, at any speed and never get caught. The skills were identical. Reading traffic 3 corners ahead, knowing which gear to be in before the bend, understanding weight transfer, feeling what the car was about to do before it did it. These were racing instincts. They worked just as well in a getaway. His car of choice was always the Jaguar Mark II, specifically the 3.4-liter version. He felt the weight balance was superior to the 3.8, more adjustable through fast corners. He drove stolen Jaguars the way he drove racing cars, right at the limit, with total confidence, never flustered, always in control. His nickname, the Weasel, came not from any physical resemblance, but from his ability to slip through situations that should have been inescapable. The legends that accumulated around him during this period are almost too good to be true: that he scaled the outside of a hotel in Monaco and lifted jewelry from a wealthy guest's room, that he broke into the garage of John Cooper, the man behind the Mini Cooper, stole his collection of silver racing trophies and melted them down for cash, that he once stole a Jaguar belonging to Formula One world champion Mike Hawthorne while it sat outside a racing club in London, used it for a robbery, and then left it somewhere it would be found and returned to its owner, which suggests either a conscience or a very particular sense of humor. What is beyond dispute is November 1962, Heathrow Airport. A team of men dressed as businessmen, leather caches concealed inside furled umbrellas, waiting for a plane carrying 62,000 pounds in company payroll. The guards go down, the bags come up. Two Jaguars are waiting in the car park with the engines running. Roy James is at the wheel of the lead car. By the time any police unit responds, they are already on the motorway. With his share of the money, James bought a Brabham racing car in cash and won his Formula Junior season. He was living two completely parallel lives, and the Jaguar Mark II was the vehicle connecting both of them. Roy James was the most famous, but he was far from alone. By the mid-1960s, the Mark II had acquired a nickname across the criminal underworld and in police briefing rooms alike: the bank robber's car. Not one gang's preference, not one city's pattern, but a conclusion that dozens of criminal operations across Britain had reached independently and simultaneously. This was the best tool available for the job, and so this was the tool they used. The logic was always the same three things working together. The performance gap was the first and most obvious. A 3.8-liter Mark II and a Wolseley 680 were not in the same conversation. On any open road, in any weather, the Jaguar walked away from anything the police were driving without the driver even needing to try particularly hard. When the Ford Zephyr replaced the Wolseley as the standard patrol car in the early 1960s, the gap narrowed slightly and remained completely unacceptable. A good driver in a Mark II could make a Zephyr look stationary on a motorway. The invisibility was the second thing, and in some ways it was more important. The Mark II was sold in genuine volume, over 83,000 built across the production run. They were everywhere, parked on residential streets, sitting outside offices, waiting in supermarket car parks. And crucially, the 3.8-liter version that criminals preferred was visually identical to the 2.4-liter base model that solicitors and accountants drove to work every morning. Same body, same chrome, same dignified Jaguar face. At night, at distance, at speed, no police officer on the road could tell the difference. Criminals would remove the badges, fit different plates, and the car simply disappeared into the background of ordinary British life. The third thing was how easy they were to steal. No immobilizers, no electronic security of any kind. A capable thief could have a Mark II started in under 3 minutes. They didn't even need to own one. They could take one fresh before each job, use it, and walk away from it, which meant no vehicle connected to them, no registration traced back to them, no evidence beyond a description that matched half the cars on the road. The situation became so recognizable, so consistent, that by the mid-1960s, it was reportedly standard police practice to stop any Mark II Jaguar carrying 2 or more men. Not because of anything those men had done, but simply because of what they were driving. Innocent owners being pulled over on the suspicion of planning a robbery purely on the basis of their car choice. Jaguar had built a car so thoroughly associated with criminal activity that owning one made you a suspect.
Well, the Jaguar Drivers Club comes of age this year, but this car goes back much further than that, to the year 1937.
And it has a very smooth and powerful engine, and the performance is unquestionable. And